You had your time, but it isn't now. Locker room's talking, I need you to zip it now.
Hey, you look so professional right now with the way you got your notes. Like now you can see you have notes, and the roster can see we legitimately come half prepared to each show.
Yeah. And when we say half, I mean, this was done 25 minutes ago. 25. You know what? Here's a couple of things this is what happened. I got stuck watching a little bit of the wrestling. I have the week off from regular work because I consider this work as well, might I add. And so I'm doing a little bit of the relax. We put the little guy to bed. And here I am flipping through the channels. It's Wednesday. I forgot. Hey, of course, there's the Stanley Cup Finals that we're going to talk about here on RLRT, episode 173. But I can't help it. My attention span's at basically zero. AEW's on, so I had to watch a little of the AEW. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of big entries into the AEW roster this week. Andrade making his debut. We knew he was there. And then Malakia Black or Malachi Black, but I'm sticking with Malakia
South
Black.
Carolina George is going to eat you alive for messing that name
listen,
up.
It's not no, I said it on purpose. It's Malakia Black. That's how I'm always going to say it, but it's Malachi Black. I know, but the reality is it's a great who is once was Alistair in NXT and WWE. He was recently let go. He's a big star and he makes his debut tonight, which takes me to the conversation of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to bring this up because this is like God wanted you and George somewhere down the line to meet each other. What am I talking about? This is what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, roster, sit back and relax and listen to this crazy story. And this is the God honest truth. The other day, minding my business. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm
never
just
do,
sitting on
Mitch.
my phone. I never do. So I'm perusing, right? I'm going through the Instagrams, and what do I see? WWE Network. I follow them on Instagram. Hey, how you doing? Be nice if you guys followed us. RLRT. I'm just saying. Anywho's, I'm flipping through, and just the other day, it's the 24-year anniversary of In Your House during the Calgary Stampede pay-per-view here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It was a 5-man tag, if I remember correctly. It was but the main event. There was a lot of great fights. There was Mankind, Triple H with China at his side. There was Undertaker and Vader. And in the main event, it was the greatest of all time. It's the best there was, the best there is, and the best there ever will be. Bret Hart and the whole family. Owen Hart, God rest his soul. Davey Boy, God rest his heart. Jim Anvil Neidhart, God rest his soul. Oh Jesus, and who else was there? There's one more. The Bret Hart and one more guy.
You got the British Bulldog. You got Davey Boy Smith. You got Bret Hart, the Anvil, Owen Hart, and Flying Brian Pillman.
God rest his soul. Jeez.
Buddy, you know what?
This just got sad. We
can't even go there. We can't even go there with that one.
And he's taking on Stone Cold. And he's taking on Stone Cold and his buddies. Okay, I don't remember everyone was on his team. So they're doing a video clip on WWE Network, and they're going through the different highlights. And all of a sudden, something caught my eye. I'm looking at the video screen, and I'm like, wait a minute, that guy looks familiar. Looks younger. But that flow, it was the flow that caught my eye. And I said to myself, wait a minute, I know that. I watched the video feed again and I took a screenshot. And ladies and gentlemen, it's my buddy, my partner in crime, along with his brother, front row, as the wrestlers are coming down the aisle. Who's right there, yelling and screaming at them and trying to get a high five from him? It's Mr. Dimitri Karolis. So if you guys listen to this podcast, he's a big wrestling fan. I love my wrestling, but there's a bigger one. There's Superfan Ryan, and there might be even a bigger one in South Carolina, George. Now, few podcasts ago, these guys talked about their encounter at the In Your House. I was at that event as well, but sitting somewhere. So I send the video feed or the print screen over to George, and I say, George, take a look at this. Dimitri is in this picture. He said he was there. He said he was front row. He seems to be the better fan. Basically, I was trying to agitate him, get him going. And all of a sudden he goes, Mitch, look at the picture a little closely. I'm the guy on the right. I look at the picture again. And then George started sending me pictures of the pictures he had found at that event. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a joke. Dimitri, his brother Tasso and George were literally 1, 2, 3 sitting side by side, and they didn't even know each other. I am not joking you. We have video evidence of this. It is the hair on my arm is sticking up, buddy. This is crazy. And who knew 24 years later, you and George and myself would be in this podcast. You guys would get to meet each other, but still had no inkling that you guys sat together.
I just feel like I owe Bret the Hitman Hart. We got to tag him on this episode. I feel that I owe everything to Bret the Hitman Hart for throwing a pay-per-view. And so, Rossi, you're right. Like, so me and my brother, we pride ourselves on this one. This is the funny part. I'm still so dumbfounded that it's not, you know what? I got the hockey game on my phone watching, but I'm willing, Mitch, because I know you do the podcast on your phone. I'm actually going to go and get the pic, because now that we do video, right? Like now I can actually show the picture. Here's the craziest part of all time. Okay. So roster, if you can imagine, you can see these three people. So here's me, like I'm that, there's me, there's my brother. Hold on, let me show you. So there's me.
Yeah.
There's
great flow.
brother.
Great flow. Great flow as well.
Flow. Look at that. Okay. Look at that. I had to get Moses to part my hair because it was so thick.
Yeah. It was very thick.
I had to get him. I said, hey, Moses, look, I know you're retired. Get the staff, call G Unit.
For you. Yeah. And he said,
I can't. The brushes, they get stuck. He did it for me. He did it.
He came in.
That's a true story. No, but
that's a true story.
So we got myself, we got my brother, and that's South Carolina George. Look,
there he is.
We're right there.
1, 2, 3.
So the crazy thing is that this little segment, Mitch, has followed my brother and I forever. So what had happened was, so when Bret Hart was in the WWE, one of the things when they had the outside of SummerSlam, WrestleMania, they would do these in your house pay-per-view events. It was like the filler pay-per-view events before they had Hell in a Cell and Backlash and all this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So they did a homage to Stampede Wrestling, which Stampede Wrestling was his father Stu Hart's promotion. So they did this homage. It was a very, Calgary Canadian show, so on and so forth. And it was great. So we were there and we got fourth row against the rail. So my brother, he's so on top of that stuff. And we would pride ourselves. Well, we were in the Calgary Sun. That's our local paper. The next day, like that snapshot, we were there. Bret Hart had done a documentary called Wrestling with Shadows. For whatever reason, that footage of us is there. And I part of me thinks it's because there's that big Canadian flag in the back, right? Or the hair. I think it was the hair.
No, I think it's the hair. Yeah.
I mean, has it changed much? Yeah. So,
if anything, got better, buddy. Like wine.
That's the best. So now I didn't even realize it until you tagged it. 24 years later, the Instagram was showing footage of the wrestling. Like they have no reason to put that clip again, and they did it. But the fact that so here's the thing. I know you and your family from back then. We knew each other. I had no clue South Carolina George even existed in your family up until maybe 4 years ago when we started the podcast.
That's right.
Closer to 4 years ago, I should say. And the time that he came on when he was visiting outside of that. And what's funny is in that episode a few weeks ago, or however, like a couple months now, I think, we were talking about that event and we were going crazy and you were laughing at us. I can't believe that he was literally, we were 1, 2, 3. That's
1,
insane.
2, 3.
So South Carolina George, it was meant to be.
It was. Dude, the more I think about it, the more I find it absolutely crazy. It's literally like, what are the chances? If there's a statistician, a guy that does numbers for a living, you got to work this out for me. Go back to 24 years ago, work out the population, figure out how 3 dudes, but mostly these 2 that don't know each other. Like if that was me, if I was sitting with South Carolina, George, this is not even a story. We're not bringing this up.
Yeah.
But you don't know him. I happen to just fool around with the picture, send it over to you. And then I'm trying to basically agitate George to say who's a better fan. And he's like, dude, I'm the third guy in that picture.
Not bad.
It's just crazy.
Buddy, the roster started 24 years ago. If
It
you really
started
think about
24 years
it
ago.
started 24 years ago.
But can I ask a question real quick? Who
But
paid
you know
for
what
those
the odds
seats?
are,
You didn't
Mitch?
pay for those seats, did you?
Mitch, do you know what the odds are?
What?
The odds are in the billions and billions to one.
Well played. Well played. But be honest with me. Did your brother pay for those tickets? Or did you pay? You didn't pay anything for that, did you?
Me.
You're too young.
I was
Yeah.
14 years old, man. Come on. What am I
Yeah.
gonna pay?
Is
Come
that
on,
but that's
Mom,
the excuse?
Dad.
Hold on a sec. That excuse you just said is the same excuse you used last time we went to Joey's. What, me? I'm 36. Well, I can't go. I gotta pay for this. That's been your excuse for 24 straight years. This
Hey,
is
man,
unbelievable.
and then, buddy, I have it planned out because then when I'm in retirement, what are you gonna make me pay again? Look at my income stream. It's
Come
too
on.
low. Come on.
Hey,
Hey,
how we doing?
hey, what? I'm 72. Come on.
So listen, if you love that story, we got a whole bunch more and a whole lot more in this episode. Dimitri, how can people find us?
Look, it's very simple, you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us, and please continue to do so. When you're on social media, being Instagram and Twitter, it's at RLRT Podcast. Our Facebook page, just search Real Locker Room Talk. We're the only real ones there. Get it? Real Locker Room Talk. See what I did there?
Yeah. Nice.
Now, YouTube, Real Locker Room Talk TV, RLRT TV. Come on, the subscriber list is slowly growing. It's a good thing. You're getting the video, you get in the faces, you get full podcast, you get clips, you get you're going to get a lot more. I'm telling you, you're going to get a lot more. So please do us a favor, roster, all of you that are listening here, just take the time out of your day. If you can go to YouTube, Real Locker Room Talk TV, and please just subscribe to the channel. And of course, the podcast, Podbean, Spotify, and iTunes is where you can download, stream, like, share, love this thing of ours. But get it in quick, because remember, we got to tell the roster, we do this every year. Hey, you think we work 365? We can if you want. We did it for the first few, but even we get fatigue.
Hey, we're tired.
COVID, the Montreal Canadiens are probably going to get eliminated today. We are going to be taking a break. This is going to be, I believe, the second last episode. Really, what we're judging it on is the extension of what the NBA playoffs do and the news. But rest assured, for sure, late July into August, we're going to be, season 5 comes to an end, and we're going to come back for sure a week before NFL week 1 starts. That's been kind of the typical MO. So just don't forget, roster, be a good chance to catch up on episodes if you haven't done it already. And of course, doing what I just told you, subscribing to that YouTube channel, helping us out.
Exactly. I was thinking about your guys' situation again. It's been on my mind. I've told everyone and whoever listens. This is a lot like, The Notebook. You guys found each other at the end. You enjoy South Carolina, George. At the end, you can't keep true love away from each other. That's really what it comes down to. You can't keep it away. Yeah. I'm proud. I'm just glad. I feel like I brought you guys together, but I'm just happy that you guys are back together. That's
You're
all
like the matchmaker.
I'm like the matchmaker.
Matchmaker Mitch.
Matchmaker Mitch. Mati Mitch. The Mitch. The Mush. Many names. Yes.
The name of the episode I got so far now, it's a tie. Matchmaker Mitch or In Your House.
I think In Your House is winning right now.
In Your House is winning. Me too. I kind of like that. I like that.
Yeah. All right. From there, let's go to a quick pick 6 segment. Now, this one is a little homage to what's been happening with Euro. Now, I love my Euro. We're going to talk about it a little later. But here's the thing. What's one of the favorite parts of Euro? Let's just show everyone how much we know each other. What's your favorite part about Euro outside of the soccer? Go.
Hooligans, man.
The hooligans are good, but there's something even better. It's when the camera pans into the crowd and you get to look at all the different beautiful ladies from the different countries.
Buddy, you know what? I swear to you, I feel that's what you're going to say, but I'm like, no, I'm keeping this week clean. Keeping this week clean.
So no, we can't do that. So we can't do that. What happened was Katarina goes, my wife goes, what are you going to do for quick pick 6? And I told her sexiest country. Little does she know, I meant to say sexiest women of the countries. Here we go. Quick pick 6. Boom. Enough. If she gets mad at me, it means that she listened to the podcast. One more listener. Here we go. Spain or Portugal? Ooh,
hot take.
Hi. No, you gotta give one. I'm not,
fine. I'm going Spain. I'm going Spain.
Sweden or Finland?
Sweden.
Okay. The Ukrainians or the Russians? Yeah.
You know what?
Be careful. Be careful.
Ukrainians.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing
That
it.
is a hot take.
Yeah.
Poland or Hungary?
That's a tough one, but I'm gonna go
They are.
overall Poland. Overall Poland, I think. Yeah.
Poland. This one's not so tough for you. Slovakia or Croatia? Be fair. Be fair.
Croatia. Well,
I see
Slovaks
your
were.
wife's. I'm
but
just saying. I was just saying. I'm just.
No,
saying.
you should have asked Serbia or Croatia. That's
oh,
your
now all of a sudden. Wait a minute. Hold on. Podcast and podcast. It seems like you guys, the Serbians and the Slovakians, are very much
No, they're
in
not close.
cahoots. I'm
No,
just
they're
saying. It
not.
seems like you're always choosing the Slovakians. I mean, yeah, the.
Buddy,
you know
no,
what?
they're
I'm just
different.
People can.
You're
I know they're
thinking
different.
Mitch,
I
you
know.
gotta
I
look
know
at your
what you're doing.
geography, Matt. You're not
I
looking
know
at your
what's
geography.
happening.
The
I'm just
former
saying.
Yugoslavia was
Right.
Croatia, Serbia,
Oh, here we go.
Bosnia
Yeah.
Herzegovina, Montenegro, Slovenia, and North
Mm.
Macedonia, as it's called right
Just saying.
now. Okay.
Just saying. In your
Slovakia
household,
was part of Czechoslovakia.
I thought-
now it's Czech
I thought-
Republic, Slovakia. I'm just saying.
I just assumed
you
that
would've
the C
s-
word
No,
was a bad word in your
no,
household.
no.
That's
If you
all I'm
would,
saying.
if you would, and I picked Croatia, but if you would have said,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
if you would have said, no, it's in my wife's best interest for me not to pick Croatia,
Mhm.
but I did it anyways.
But you didn't.
Don't talk.
That's what I'm
Straight
saying.
zone.
That's why I said
close
it.
But if you said Czech Republic versus Croatia, I mean, hey, Prague is Prague. We've all been there.
Hey, I'm not stopping at 6, by the way. Czech Republic or the Netherlands.
Czech Republic.
Oh yeah.
That might be the world number one.
The English or the French.
French. Come on, Mitch.
Greece or Italy.
Greece.
Over Italians.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I have to. Come on, man.
Last one.
Bro,
USA or Canada. This one's just because I wanted to.
USA. You know what? Dare I say?
Always. That's what I was saying too.
You
I
know
say
what?
too. Yeah.
USA is actually the top in the world because you get everything.
You get a little bit of everything.
It's like instead of going to instead of going to an ethnic restaurant, you get the whole buffet. It's like the all-inclusive.
That's right.
God bless
And by
America.
the way, happy 4th of July to all the Americans.
Happy 4th of July.
Hope you guys had a great time. Fireworks, hot dogs. But that Chestnut guy, did you see that before we get into this? That guy broke the record. 15 championships, that guy. 75. He ate 75 hot dogs in 10 minutes with the bread.
And his mom said that he'd amount to nothing, eh? Shame on you, mom. Shame on you.
He truly, but you know what? As the goat of goats, he might be the goat of goats. That's 15. It's 15. I'm just saying.
Bigger than Bill Russell.
Dude, it was a plus 5,000 for him to, if anyone tried to bet against him, it was a plus 5,000.
To bet against them was a plus.
To bet against them. So you'd have to put $5,000 down just to win 100.
That's insanity.
This is what happens when you're the champ, you know? Now, the last thing before we get into the NHL topic.
Yeah, man.
If you're Joey Chestnut and the bread, like they have to eat the bread too, but they soak it in water. You see how these guys do it? They soak the bread in water and then
Smart move.
It is, play. But it's also.
But is it cheating though? It's almost like
cheating.
It's like the baseball pitchers that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, greasing the ball. They're greasing the bun.
They're greasing the bun.
They're greasing the bun.
They're greasing the bun.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying.
No, you know us. We love greasing the buns here. Well, this is all we do.
I grease my own buns, you know.
Yeah, this is what we do here. You know, two Greeks talking sports, greasing buns is what we're all about. Here we go.
Funny.
Let's go over to the NHL. Literally 1 minute, 41 seconds left in the third period. Tampa Bay is up 1-0. It's been a really tight game. I watched a lot of it outside of the AEW this evening. And ladies and gentlemen, it's going to probably happen. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say anything. Let's just talk about what happened the night before so that we can actually talk about it live. This is fun. We finally get a live event.
I'm watching
me and you. This is good. So, Dimitri, I got to ask you, in Montreal, Tampa Bay heads into Montreal. They were up 2-0. They go up 3-0. A lot of people thought this was going to be done. What were your thoughts of their game-winning effort, game 4, winning that awesome game 3-2 on that Josh Anderson goal? What were your thoughts? Were you surprised? Were you happy for Montreal? Thoughts?
You know what? I was happy for Montreal, and I was happy for Montreal fan. You get a little bit of hope. Maybe there's a series out of it. But Montreal fan, you know what? When we told you last week, Mitch and I both, we want to be nice. We're Canadians. We want to find a little bit of an excuse why we can, give it to you a little bit, but we can't, especially when the only reason you're there is because of one person. And when that person doesn't play perfect, you're not just in trouble. You're in the worst trouble ever, because top to bottom, your team isn't that full of stars. They've had trouble scoring against Tampa Bay. They've been outmatched line by line by line. Now, bright note for this team is that if you add a few more players, maybe if a few more players develop, who knows what the case is, that might be good for you. But if Carey Price isn't playing, I'm sorry. And that was the difference maker. Carey Price played like garbage in the first 3 games. I've never seen a person get to the finals like that on insane momentum, playing hotter than anything I've seen, hotter than Calgary weather, the heat wave we've been having. Okay. And fall flat. He cost them, right? Because they can't do it otherwise. They just can't do it otherwise. So in game 4, what happened? He finally played a game. And in game 5 right now, I'm seeing it on my TV. There's 23 seconds left. Montreal's in the zone. But even then, yeah, they're up 1-0, but it's been a tight game, and Carey Price has been playing, and Montreal's doing their job. But I think it's going to be a little, too late. Let's see here. We got 9 seconds. Tampa Bay just cleared it. There's no icing.
It's over.
It's
Done.
over. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Well, you're going to hear it here afterwards. But the Tampa Bay Lightning are your 2021 back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. There you go. To end it on this, Mitch, and of course, you get to go, but I thought it should have just been a sweep. I really thought that this was going to be a sweep.
Well, you know what? With everything you said, I'm going to give Carey Price a little bit of reprieve here, and I'll tell you why. Because you're not wrong. He didn't play his best hockey those first 3 games. He stood on his head in game 4 there to give him that chance, so it wasn't a sweep. But you know what I noticed? And I ran into Johnny Hockey today, and we're going to talk about that in a quick second. I ran into Johnny Hockey and his dad made a point that, I thought it, but I'm really happy somebody said it out loud and kind of reminded me of this. When you watch Montreal play and when they won that game, you saw how much effort they were putting in.
Right.
Where when you watch Tampa Bay play, dude, they're just effortless. Like, look at the guy that scored the goal tonight, the winning goal, the guy that clinched the Stanley Cup for your Tampa Bay Lightning, Ross Colton.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say. This team, at the end of the day, talent, goaltending, defense, coaching, the fans, we can make fun of Tampa Bay going, oh, they're down in Florida. And yeah, maybe the early years it was scarce. Dimitri, how packed is that crowd right now in Tampa Bay? And how much do they love their Tampa Bay Lightning?
You know what? It's insane, Mitch. It's insane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the 2021 Stanley Cup champions, it wasn't that big of a surprise. Yeah, all year long, me and Dimitri tried to cut them down, tried to get into their minds, but it didn't work. And that just shows me what other sort of champion they are. Mentally, physically, talented, they had it all. So here's my next question. Now that we know they've been crowned, Dimitri, is this a dynasty? They've won in 2 COVID-ridden years. Let's call it what it is. Should there be, here's my 2-part question. A, should they have an asterisk on both their championships? And B, is this a dynasty?
Yeah, you know what? Both really good questions. So first question, should they have an asterisk around their championships? No, because I'm also a firm believer that if they didn't win in this landscape, someone else would win in this landscape. It's the same advantage or disadvantage, however you look at it on either side. So, we've talked in weeks past about the salary cap issue that they wanted to rescind, but no one wanted to do it. And they Kucherov, the Tampa Bay Lightning aren't like, oh man, thank God this guy took almost a year off, or thank God Stamkos was done for the year last year. Like, no one plans for this stuff. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, is it a dynasty? Too premature, Mitch. Is it incredibly impressive for teams in today's NHL and today's landscape to win back-to-back? Very impressive, right? So when I think of teams like the Chicago Blackhawks, the LA Kings didn't do back-to-back, but there was that Chicago LA era, I'll call them, right?
Yeah, sure.
But then you also have in recent the Pittsburgh Penguins that did back-to-back. and now the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's very impressive, but it's still premature to call it a dynasty. I still think that, like if Tampa Bay did 3 in a row, or if Tampa Bay would do, let's say, 4 and 5 or 4 and 6, or even something like what Golden State has done in the NBA, I'd say that at that point it's a dynasty. To me, it's a little premature, but highly impressive.
Here's my thought on it real quick. I do think this is a dynasty based on the free agency, based on how this world's going, based on this COVID-ridden scenario of the last year and a half that we've been watching, and these guys have actually been playing in. You gotta give them some major credit, man. I mean, there's never been so much red tape to play sports. Get tested, do this, stay away from people, don't do this, stay in a bubble. Okay, this year you're only going to play in teams within your vicinity. Get on a plane, you can't go out, you get to go to a different city. But I met a girl, I want to talk to her, so you can't do it, you got to go back, or you broke protocol. We got guys on the ice that can play but they can't play. It's been a weird scenario for them. So I am going to give them the dynasty card, because I do think that, and I would say this for any team that goes back to back during this year. And the fact that you're going back to back in this sports world right now, in any sport, I don't care if it's NBA, NHL, anything, it's impressive. Like, yeah, the Golden State, they had their, you got your Steph Currys and you got your Clays and you had your Durants at the time, but it's still hard to go back and win and back and win. And even the New England Patriots, and a lot of people tend to forget this, they have been considered the true dynasty. But guys, there was a time they didn't win a championship for 10 years. Mm-hmm. They didn't win for 10 years. Like, they won one, then there was they won 2, and then there was a 10-year lull. And then they, Tom and the boys did their work, and then Tom's still working. By the way, is Tom going to get trash at this party, you think? Or what do you think? Is he going to get trash in the parade or what?
Oh, he'll get trash in the parade.
Oh, he'll get trash.
I think
he seems to really enjoy him. But like, I think we're truly seeing the real Tom Brady now.
You bring up some good point. Every point that you bring up is good and is valid. But when I think of a dynasty, I think of people that have done not like extraordinary accomplishments. So when you looked at what the New York Islanders did in hockey, what you look at the Montreal Canadiens did in hockey at a point in time, the Edmonton Oilers, at that point you look and you say, like, a dynasty is not just, the back-to-back, but sheer and utter dominance with, and now I'm not saying that we have to benchmark today's NHL to those dynasties. I don't think so. Like, I would say, and I said it, I remember, when Pittsburgh did back-to-back, and I'll say it now that with Tampa winning back-to-back, if they do 3 out of 4 or 3 in a row, to me, that's the equivalent. Like, that's the equivalent of what the 80s Oilers did. Because the 80s Oilers did, I think they did 5 and 6, right? I think they did.
They went 4 and 4. They 5 out of 6. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they did 5 and 6.
Those are the year the Flames won the cup, and then they won the year after.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And even if it was 5 and 7, but the point being is they won 4 with Gretzky, and then he left, and then shortly after, they had done it with Messier. So 3 in a, like, if Tampa does 3 in a row, I would put him in that category. That is extremely difficult in today's NHL with the cap and everything. But you have to go higher than the standing watermark. So the standing watermark so far right now, Mitch, is you have the Pittsburgh Penguins in 17-18 that have already done it. Okay. And then you had the Chicago Blackhawks, and I think it was 11 and 12 that have done it. And so I think Chicago, for me, is the benchmark of this latest era of what you would consider a dynasty. So if you don't match that, I can't put him in that category yet, Mitch.
I don't know. I'm gonna disagree with you slightly. I just think that as much as I agree, how about this? You make a really good point, but COVID is so messed up, buddy. It's so messed up where it's screwed with the schedule. These players had to go home, come back. They had to then the next year they make a new schedule for them. I just think from a mental point of game, I'm not saying like where you're right is like regular season wise, the Chicago Blackhawks of that era, they did the full regular season, full playoff mode. These guys didn't play as many games. So right there, like, you can just say, well, they played 10 less games or whatever the case may be. I still think that because of all the weird things that they had to do off the ice, I think you got to give them a little bit of the doubt. And buddy, this is the Tampa Bay Lightning we're talking about. This is the team I hate more than anybody. And I'm sticking up for them slightly because I think that what they had to endure off the ice, like, dude, they had to think about these players. They when they go home, they had to be careful with even talking to their wife and their kids going, where were you guys today? Where did you guys do? Did you guys talk to Arlene, who I know went to Mexico last week or whatever? Like, they had to watch every angle, which I think mentally is, and then they'd go to a different city where, let's call it what it is. We hear the stories. These guys love to go out, love to party, love to do their thing, to unwind. They're human. And then no team was allowed to do that. They had to stay in their bubble.
Don't you think that's the same? Don't you think it's follow me on it? Don't you think it's easier for them to stay focused as opposed to, yeah, you got a curfew, but in between the curfew, you're out at the bar, you're partying, you're celebrating. Like, you have so many more distractions to focus that it's probably harder as opposed to, hey, you're going to bed at 9, you're doing your homework and you're eating your broccoli like that. You know, it was probably easier for these teams to focus harder on the mental strain of I'm not downplaying COVID, because just from a human level, like, we've all experienced it. We know how shitty it is to be locked down or bubbled. Right. But I don't know. Like, to me, again, it's apples to apples. Like,
put it like this. I agree with everything you're saying. I'll say this. If you have to say who's a better dynasty, Chicago Blackhawks or Tampa Bay, I'll take the Blackhawks with you. I'll give you that. Sure. But I think we shouldn't downplay the fact that during 2 really irregular years where all these players had to do the same thing, all the players had to endure it, this team seemed to somehow rise to the top and do it, dare I say, effortlessly, which is even more impressive than anything. Now, with that being said, I talked about a parade. There was reports, and this might still happen. I haven't heard anything that it won't happen. The Montreal Canadiens were so pumped. The city of Montreal was so excited and so pumped for their team. And then they, it's like the David and Goliath, but in this scenario, Goliath beat the shit out of David.
Goliath really won.
Like, he literally grabbed him and beat him senseless. Where now the city of Montreal is actually thinking about throwing a parade for Montreal because of how well they did. What are your thoughts on this idea? And if you're on the Montreal Canadiens team, what are you saying?
It's kind of like,
so it might be 2 different answers.
Yeah, it's kind of like my wife, as a teacher, can't actually fail kids anymore. Montreal, what are you doing? A parade for what? Losing? You don't hold a parade for people losing. That's part of the incentive of winning. So you can parade. You can't parade the loss. You mourn the loss. You should have a funeral. Everybody wear black and keep your mouth shut. And maybe, I'm surprised at you, Montreal. I'm surprised at you. It wasn't so long ago. I remember that you didn't give anybody a pass if they were playing a bad game. And now at the final of finals, when you get a glimpse, I hope you changed. You changed, Montreal.
You changed.
You.
Exactly.
Empathy, understanding. Who are you people?
What happened to you guys? The main reason I hate this idea, outside of what you said, and well said, by the way, is you guys are actually dare I say, the Green Bay Packers of the NHL. You guys have the most amount of titles. You guys have had the most amount of parades. And now you guys want a parade because you guys had an immaculate season? Hey, I get it. Congratulate them. Go to the airport, cheer them on that they come in. A parade? You guys have 23 Stanley Cups. You guys are the team that the franchise that everyone tries to be like. You guys have actually been to the Cup. I think I saw a stat 35 times. So that's 10 other times you guys didn't win the Cup. I didn't see a parade then. So what makes you think you can have a parade now? Listen, you want a parade? Come to Calgary this Friday. Stampede's back, baby. Come to the greatest outdoor show on earth and have your parade here. You don't have a parade because you lost the Stanley Cup.
What is it, the Montreal Millennials?
You knew what you got. Write that down.
I'm writing it down right away.
You knew what you guys were getting yourselves into when you got into the Stanley Cup finals. You knew. You don't throw a party. If they have this parade, Dimitri, I will literally lose all respect for all Montreal fans. Yeah. And even though maybe you're not going to attend there, but the players, the only way this doesn't work is the players turn around and be like, dude, we can't go. If the players end up going to this, dude, I might lose my mind. I might actually lose my mind. I don't know.
It's not right, Mitch. It's not right.
No, it's not right. But if the players like back this, that they're like, yeah, you know what? We do this for a parade.
Yeah.
We want a parade
I
too.
don't want a parade.
Then I'm really gonna like really lose my mind. I can't handle. I can't back.
You can't do it.
Listen, you got the live TV. Who's the MVP? I'm curious. Who won the
You know
Conn
what?
Smythe?
I turned the live TV off on my phone. The game's done.
Okay.
I went, but I didn't. I didn't
It's okay.
see it. But
It's
what do
not a
you
big
think?
deal. I was just asking. I thought maybe you had it. It's not a big deal.
I mean,
Not a
if
big
you,
deal.
if you had to pick the Calder,
I got to go with Vasilevsky. I was. It's 1-0. Another shutout for this guy. This guy tore up the whole playoffs, in my opinion. The guy got robbed of the Vezina,
Yeah.
rightfully, and so by all means, I don't think anyone even because Brandon Point was on his way, and then just lately he hasn't really produced. Montreal kind of shut him down a little bit. So I'm going to go with the guy that kind of, and again, pitched the shutout in the Stanley Cup final. I'm going to go with Vasilevsky as the.
I got to go with Vasilevsky as well. We'll see what happens. But now, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember during the playoffs, he was. I don't know if he had broken it, if he had tied it, or whatever the case was, but it was shutouts by a goalie to close the series, and here he did it again.
Mm-hmm.
Having a shutout to close.
Yeah, you mentioned this on the podcast 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. It was like I
think it was like 7 or something.
Something ridiculous.
Something like
it was
that.
a number, but I'm sure those.
Yeah. Hey,
those,
doesn't matter.
we're not stats guys. Those
We're
guys.
not stat guys.
Hey.
I'll call my dad tomorrow. We'll find out.
Oh, your dad.
But
your dad.
more importantly, he's got the Stanley Cup. What does he care? What does he care?
What does he care?
8, 9 Stanley Cup. Like this guy's on fire. Listen, from there, speaking of Stanley Cups, let's go over to the NBA because, ladies and gentlemen, it's the finals time. Last we left you, Phoenix, basically just slapped around the Clippers and said, hey, we'll see whoever it is in the finals. Devin Booker's on fire. Chris Paul was completely on fire, waiting for who was going to take. Giannis gets hurt in that game. He misses the final 2 games, and it's the Bucks along with Middleton. That man. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I said it. And the rest of the Bucks team, they band together. They said, hey, let's do this. Let's get it. And they end up winning it. Game 1 was just yesterday. Giannis missed 2 games. He's back. He's a medical marvel. I don't want to say it. He's Greek. It is what it is. So
What do you do?
Giannis is back. They lose game 1. And I'm not going to lie to you. They're in Phoenix. Phoenix had a better schedule or a better win percentage. So they have home court advantage. Phoenix looked fantastic. It was a good game. Giannis had a decent game. I'm expecting big things tomorrow night when they play game 2. But, dude, I got to be honest with you, man. Phoenix looks like a team of destiny. Chris Paul is this close. And one last stat I saw the other day, and I was actually dumbfounded by it. Of all the guys on both teams, not one guy on either team has won championship amongst themselves. Not one. So this truly is whoever wins this will have their first ever NBA championships, which you don't see very often anymore because of free agency. Everyone's moving around. This is pretty cool. So Phoenix up 1 game to another thing. Dimitri, thoughts on the Bucks Phoenix series?
First of all, well said. And isn't that just a breath? I was just thinking, what a breath of fresh air that who would have, the Bucks, you could have made an argument, sure, but who would have predicted we'd see a Milwaukee Phoenix NBA final or anything like that for the next 5-10 years with the way that the NBA seems to roll with the tides of these top 3-4 teams. Right. But, I think this is going to be a good finals. I'm actually pretty happy with whoever wins. I'm cheering for Milwaukee. Of course, we want to support Giannis. We've said it week in, week out. What a time for the Bucks to be here because it's just a really hard road ahead. I'm not concerned about game 1. I'm not really concerned about game 1 for the Bucks. Phoenix has been dominating. If I had to pick with my head, Mitch, I think that the Phoenix Suns are just, no pun intended, they're too hot. They're too cohesive. They're just playing so well. And the icing on the cake that I see between the 2 teams is Chris Paul, leadership, chipping in, that X factor of having that presence. And he's so Mitch, this is his last stop. He's so close. I'm actually really excited for him. Like I've said, I've gotten to see him play live and I was wowed by his performance. But I'm not concerned for Milwaukee because Milwaukee has kind of started slow all playoffs long. They started slow with Atlanta. They started slow with Brooklyn. So, I'm curious to see what game 2 brings. I'm going to give them a little bit of flack or a little bit of a pass because maybe they were a little bit tired. They closed out the series. They didn't have Giannis. He's back in the lineup. It should help, but it changes the dynamic. Okay, Milwaukee, I gave you one, but dude, this Phoenix team, Mitch, is money, man. Like, it's just money. There's no let up on this team. Like, everything that would go against the team, like, oh, you swept a team early and maybe you're rusty, or you did good in the regular season. What can you do with the play? Like, nothing phases this team. Nothing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Real quick, Dimitri earlier picked the Ukraine women over the Russian women, but guess what? Russian goalies are your Conn Smythe Trophy. Vasilevsky, your 2021 Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Well deserved.
There you go. We knew it.
Yeah.
We called it. We called
it. We did it again. Listen, here's my dilemma. All right, here's my dilemma. I'm gonna be hated by every Greek person out there, and this is why. Because I love the Giannis, I do, but I can't seem to get out of my own way when it comes to trying to be a realist. Okay, I look at the scenario, and here's the thing: Giannis is not playing up to his capabilities or not. It's, call it the injury, but even prior to that, there's something off with him right now. Okay, so his team makes it to the finals. Dimitri, this Phoenix team, I've been watching them lately. They're just seamless, man. This whole team, like, bench guys are coming off the bench, playing. They got this like attitude, and throw in now they got the chip on their shoulder with Chris Paul, who we've been dubbing this guy for MVP this year because of his leadership qualities. This guy seems to kind of just now have the talent around. Here's the same guy, Chris Paul, last year took the Oklahoma Thunder, which a lot of analysts, NBA guys, we don't consider ourselves to be big NBA guys, said these guys are going to be like maybe going for the lottery. They end up making the playoffs. Yeah. This is a guy that just knows how to make the guys around him better. Yeah. He's just that good of a leader. And I'm not comparing the leadership quality, because stat to stat, Giannis is a much better player than Chris Paul. But here's the thing. You need the rest of the guys to play.
That's right.
And right now, the Phoenix Suns have got the determination. They got the itch. They got Devin Booker, who, when he goes off, he goes off. And he hasn't gone off for a couple of games. So expect him to go off in at least a couple of games. Chris Paul can taste this. Like, he wants this. He needs this. Giannis, you guys, needs this too. That's why I don't want to be fake here. I just don't think the Bucks have what it takes to take on this Phoenix team. I think this Phoenix team goes, we got 3 more games. And it's literally just a math thing now. It's who can win 3 more games now. Bucks have to win 4. Phoenix has got to win 3. I'm going to take Phoenix. I like the Cinderella story of Chris Paul finally getting his championship, but trust me when I tell you, I would not be at all sad if Giannis and the boys can pull it off. But there's just something where the Bucks can play outstanding basketball one game and shitty the next.
Yes.
It's just that, but Phoenix just is boom, boom, boom. They're just there. They're there. They're there every game, and they got a young team, and there's teams here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking Phoenix. I mean, is it easy or hard for me to do? It's both. It's easy because they won game 1, so I get 3 less games. But I like them. I like them. I like them, and I hated this is why I didn't want to talk about this. But Dimitri made me talk about it. He said, "Hey, I gotta take it."
Mitch, you know what I see? One of the differences is I think Giannis puts a lot on himself. I think he's a big competitor. He wants to win. He wants to be the best. He does have that, we talk about killer instinct all the time on the podcast. I think he has the killer instinct attitude, but I think it's to his detriment, from an immature standpoint. Giannis, you don't have to do everything on your own. You don't have to take it from half court and drive to the net every time. You don't have to be like, if there's anything that you've learned is you can trust the people around you to touch the ball. And I think when Giannis is there, of course the makeup changes. I mean, because like he's a good player. It's not like he's an he's not a narcissist or an egomaniac, like, oh, give me the ball. It's just that he's a commanding player. And I think that they're playing around him. And I think he thinks that if he's not the guy that takes Milwaukee over the finish line, it doesn't count. Like he has to be the guy. No. And this is where Phoenix is different. Nobody cares in Phoenix. You just get that sense. Nobody cares in Phoenix. It's you, it's me, it's whatever. It doesn't really matter. So I hope now what I like to see, I know he came back from an injury, Mitch, and and Middleton, still was the top scorer on the team. But, I hope that that's also a sign of things to come. Like, okay, we can, because the bench is the story here.
Yes, it is. It really is. Yeah.
Bottom line, that's it. That's it.
We'll see what happens. Look, Yanni, you're Greek. We love you. We love you. We're pushing for you. Speaking of Greeks, that's in Europe. It's the Euro Cup. Here we go. We are down to the finals now. The semifinals were played over the last 2 days. And hey, you know what, UEFA? I got to hand it to you. This Euro that you guys do, that you put together, it's goddamn entertaining. It's what it is. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just said goddamn, and it thundered outside. I apologize.
He warned you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
Relax, Mitch.
Hey,
relax.
Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth on this podcast. Watch
That's
your mouth.
A little creepy. It's a little creepy.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
He's like, I'll
Just
cut
like
that
you
new
and George.
internet of yours. Then where will your podcast
Then
be?
where are you gonna go? And hey, you and George together. 1, 2, 3. Also creepy. Does anyone get how crazy this is? 1, 2, 3. Why isn't anyone understanding how crazy this is? I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's too much to us, Mitch.
It is. All right. From there, let's go to the Euro. The other night, it's Italy versus Spain. In one of the best games I watched, I happened to watch the majority of it, if not all of it. It went to, I like calling it double overtime because I like using hockey references, but they went to extra time. Yeah. Nothing was decided. Then they go to the penalty kicks. And right off the bat, Italy made it exciting. They said, hey, we'll kick it right at the goalie on the first one. And then Spain said, hey, we'll kick this one over the net. Now let's start. And what happens? Italy pulls it off. Yeah. They win in the shootout. Dimitri, I got a 2-part question on this one. Number 1, what did you think of the game? Number 2, penalties to end these types of games. Thoughts on this? I got to get your thoughts on
I thought the game was one of the best of the Euro Cup.
Yeah.
It was an excellent game. And with two teams both playing really good. Like to say, there's an argument that could be said, hey, Spain dominated a majority of the game, especially the second half. There's no question about that. And even the extra time, Spain was doing what Spain does, control the ball, keep the possession, good opportunities. And then Italy was doing what Italy does, master defense, get it running, counterattack, all that stuff. So, but it was a really good game, really exciting game. I love the game. And the second part was about the penalty kicks. Look, I personally hate that playoff games are ever decided in that type of fashion, but it is soccer, right? And, soccer's not a dynamic scoring sport. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's not like basketball, it's not like hockey, and it's not like NFL where it's back and forth, and you can run up the scores. Or even if you don't run up the score, like point in case roster, you have a situation here where you could say, well, Tampa Bay just won the Stanley Cup and it was 1-0. Yeah, fine. But I haven't looked at the shots, but I can guarantee you that each team had 25 plus attempts. Right. So in soccer, you don't. Soccer, there's like 7 attempts, 3 of them are on goal. 1 of them actually makes it in, if any. So do I hate the fact that you decide a penalty or a playoff game or a championship by a shootout or penalty kicks? Yeah, I don't like it, but it needs to be done in soccer. And I think at this point in time where it's so historic of a part of the game that I don't ever want to see it go away. At all. I think when they changed the the silver goal rule. At least that was, instead of golden goal from extra time, we had silver goal where, yeah, you could score, but a team still has a chance to go.
Yeah.
I even like, I got to tell you, I even like that rule. So look, at the end of the day, you're playing 120 minutes of soccer. And if you
Yeah.
can't decide it between then, I'm sorry, man, your fault, not mine.
Yeah, no, it's true. Originally when I asked this question, I thought about it. I'm like, I want them to change it. But then I thought to myself, nah, you know what? Truthfully, I think even in life, I'm a traditionalist to some degree. And at the age of 40 plus that I am, I'm at that point in my life where I'm like, get off my lawn, keep everything the same way. And as much as I wish there was a more fair, I hate the penalties, but I guess at the end of the day, this sport, what else are you going to do? Go 3-on-3, 5-on-5? Like, no, that'd be really dumb at that point. So the reality is this is the best scenario. The only thing I'll say is maybe in their extra time, if there's a goal scored, you don't get a chance to tie. Like, you score, it's over. Maybe that.
Maybe.
But
Mitch,
the penalty,
think about this for a
at the end of
sec.
the day, it is what it is.
Think about this, Mitch. Think about this. If you go 120 minutes where each of you's only scored one goal, and you're you're fresh, what's the game gonna look like? And we see how slow soccer moves, like what's it gonna look like when they're tired? They're literally not gonna run. Do you want to watch that roster? Do you want to watch in the 276th minute, guys be like,
so true. Well, this is where, you know what? Now I'm gonna go into my bag of RLRT tricks and say, hey, you know what? This is where you do the line changes. The guy comes running off, the guy runs in, guy runs off, the guy runs in. I just answered your question, soccer. There you go. Line
Could you
changes.
imagine if soccer had line changes? Like, you got to run off the field, tag a guy in, and he's got like that.
Can I tell you something?
Exciting.
But why wouldn't that actually? That I joke about it, but I think that actually might work, and it would actually work. Like, these guys' cardio is so amazing that even if they get a 2-second, a 20-second, a half a second, 30 minutes, or you know what I mean, like whatever that time frame might be where they get to sit down for a minute, wouldn't be. But look at the hockey guys. There's some guys that are on there for 2-3 minutes, which is an excruciating amount of time on ice, and then they go to the bench for 50 seconds and they're back out there again. It's just sprint. Like, these guys could do it.
Yeah, but these guys are different. They're running like 10 plus kilometers each one. It's
I know,
crazy.
but
you know what they should do?
They could pull it off. They could do.
You know what they should do
if they wanted to. Yeah.
So yellow card is your warning. Hey. You do one more of these, you're out. And then the red card, you're out. You can't play. You know what they should do with the yellow card? If you get a yellow card, you can't come off. Be like, here's your warning. And you have to stay on the whole. No, I don't care. Don't do that.
You're here.
Punish them.
Yep. In fact, there's another game after you guys. You're staying for that game.
You have to stay for that one too. They're looking for a goalie.
All right, so we got the winner. It's Italy. They're going July 11th, this coming Sunday. They need an opponent. Who are they waiting for? It's England versus the Cardiac Kids versus the Team of Destiny, Denmark. Ladies and gentlemen, this game got crazier. I thought the Italy game was crazy. Dimitri, tell the people what happened in the England game.
They had no heart. Okay, sorry. Again, I just come on, man. You did the Cardiac Kids. I don't know. Leave me alone.
How dare you?
Hey, what do you want from me? Roster. You.
We didn't expect anything less.
You beg for entertainment, and then when we give it to you, you throw the tomatoes at us. Shame on you. Look, this played out exactly as I thought it would. And I said it to you, Mitch. I think England's going to win, but this is going to be the toughest game that England's going to have to play because Denmark, you know what? I was looking at some things and I go, you know what? Like, what has this, Denmark's usually kind of like an old horse, solid team. They're not giving you bad football. They're going to come out and play no matter what team has ever come out on the pitch for Denmark. But, I'm looking at their World Cup qualifying. They're leading their group, never lost a game. You look at the Euro Cup qualifying, what they did to get here. You look at the inspiration of unfortunately what happened with their teammate. You stack all these things. This is a very tough team to play against. And when you have a team like England that beats up a country like Ukraine and you have that confidence, and then you come in and you play, it's like getting in the ring with dad. Like, I don't care if you're faster. I don't care if you have a better diet. Sometimes you just can't beat the old dog, right? Like, he'll give you a run for your money. Like, those liver punches, they will hurt. This is what
They
happened
do
with
hurt,
England.
yeah.
But hey, you know what? Mitch, you said it. I said it. England, Germany. We looked at that game and we both said whoever wins this is going to go right to the final. And it played out that way. So I think we have a really exciting final, Italy versus England, as it's going to be July 11th on the Sunday. And what I like about it is that these are two teams that have the expectations of their countries off of them a little bit. But at the same time, they're the fastest teams out there. And if you look at where they're scoring from, this is what I love about it. A lot of the goals that are coming from both these teams are just outside the box, really good shots, really good placements. They're threading the ball. They're taking chances inside. This is going to be a really fun game. I really don't know which way it's going to go. I actually don't, because I think that this is such an evenly matched game that you could see a blowout. You could see a tight, but it's going to be fun. This is fun, Mitch.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a great and entertaining final. I'm actually kind of pumped about the final. I don't have a prediction either. I wanted to put you on the hot spot because I didn't want to pick a team and then mush them. So I was going to put you on the hot spot.
I'll say it right now.
Sure.
You know me, I always cheer for Italy. It's my second team, but England's going to win. I really believe it. They got home field advantage. They're just that much quicker. And the other thing that I noticed was that when Spain was controlling the game, Italy went to that they really backed up a bit. And I just don't know if that's going to help against a firecracker team like England, who even when they're facing adversity, they just keep going. They just keep going.
I'm curious to watch this game. The English fans, the Italian fans, the Italian team, and well said, Dimitri, this team very much so is very similar. So we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be, I'll be honest. I hope it doesn't go to kicks. I don't want to see the finals go to kicks. I'd rather it be decided in that 90 or 120 minute mark. I'm okay with that, but not the 90 minutes. I can't,
I don't think it's going to kicks, Mitch.
I
don't think it's going to kicks.
That's all I ask. Yeah. Now, speaking of Killer Instinct, speaking
and
of the kicks and all that fun stuff, let's quickly talk about a couple of quick hits, just quick hits before we get to rapid banter. A few things going on. So Aaron Rodgers and Bryson DeChambeau took on little Tom Brady and took on a little Phil Mickelson, recent winner of the PGA Championship. They ended up getting their asses whooped by Aaron and the boys, but that's not what I want to talk about. They were questioning. It's actually a really cool little way they do it, right? They got these guys, they got them interviewing. They're kind of talking to them the whole time. I don't know if you saw any of these highlights. And
but golf should be like this all the time.
Exactly.
Golf, what are you doing? It would be phenomenal
for you. What do you guys need the football guys to do this? You guys don't need the football guys. They literally had their earpieces in the whole time, and they were talking to the commentators the whole time. And there was even a part where Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers were throwing the football back and forth to each other. And dude, the spirals that these dudes are just tossing to each other just for fun, and they're not whipping at each other. It's just, but they're tight, they're beautiful, and let's call it up. They're one-upping each other on each throw a little bit, but not on the speed. It's just who's got that tighter throw, right? But with all that being said, the one commentator put Aaron Rodgers on kind of on the hot seat and said, "Hey, dude, listen, what are we doing with you? Green Bay's taking New Orleans on this year in the first game of the season, blah, blah." And dude, Aaron Rodgers' answers to everything were really, he wasn't answering anything. I mean, they would ask him, "Are you ready for the season?" We'll see. He was very non-responsive is maybe the best way I can say this. Mm-hmm. Are you worried or not worried about how he was answering these questions? That's what I more or less want to ask.
If anything, as a Packer fan, I was actually, it gave me more hope. Look, I think he's leaving. Mm-hmm. I think with events that had transpired from just before the draft into the draft and after, it was, no, I don't want to talk to you guys. but what I got a sense of, Mitch, is that they're actually talking, and there actually might be the avenue for him to stay. And I think at that point, he's like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think they're talking right now. I actually have more hope now than I ever did before. But Mitch, I'd like to know with him, what is it that's going to fix it for you? Like, what is the
Dude,
problem? We'll never know.
Well,
We'll know
the
after.
problem is, yeah, he just doesn't like I actually disagree with what you're saying. I found this interview to be more problematic. I got more nervous as I was listening to him. I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, I've joked around where I'm like, okay, let's get rid of him. Let's start fresh because we got to start somewhere. If it's not today, it's going to be 2 years from now. He's still Aaron Rodgers, and the way he was throwing that football, hey, he might have another 5 in him. But the reality is that I found his answers to be a little bit condescending. Now, granted, people say that that's how he is. He's a little bit cocky. How he is.
I didn't see.
But you know what? This was his opportunity to win the crowd, in my opinion, a little bit, get him on your side. But his answers weren't that way. To me, his answers are like, we'll see. It was like he was pushing away his girlfriend. It was like, hey, are you going to come over tonight? He's like, yeah, maybe. And here we are. And here we are as the girlfriends. But I agreed 100%. But give us a little something. Let us a little taste.
No,
little taste.
He can't do that.
Just a little.
And taste. You know what? On the business side of it, why should he give the taste to the golf reporters when he should be giving them to the NFL insiders and the guys that are there? So
I hear you.
You know what? No, he was prepared. We'll see.
No, you're right. He was. I mean, he's the new Alex Trebek. So he's
the new Alex Trebek. I mean, what do you want from the guy? Nah, Mitch, you know what? I think why I feel a little bit better is because I've already put it in my head that he's gone. So anything of him abstaining is like, oh, maybe like to me, he's gone. Well, I think it's I think the only saving grace for the Packers organization that this fight started like at the end of the season, being like right at the end of the Super Bowl. And at that point in time, where they have time to maybe salvage this thing. But
real quick, Wimbledon's going on right now. Since we talked about the French Open, hey, we're gonna talk about Wimbledon. It's, you know what, hottest country right now for sports, England, Wimbledon. We got a lot going on over there. Okay, let's talk about the finals. There's a Canadian in the semifinals, and he's taking on his prize, Djokovic. It's Mr. Shapovalov, who sounds Russian, but he's not. He's Canadian. He's going to take on Djokovic. And who's he against? Hey, guess what? The Italian said, hey, you heard a party? We're coming at two. It's Berrettini versus Hukats, who did he knock out? He knocked out Federer earlier today. So real quick, you got Djokovic and Shapovalov versus Benary and Hukakev. I don't know. Either way, who do you like?
Look, man, this is Djokovic's tournament to lose now.
Exactly.
Now at this point, and you know what? Riding high from the French Open, favorable matchups. It's his to lose. Wimbledon, he's familiar with, and I'm hoping Djokovic wins this one again, man. Now it'll be tied. Then we got 3 guys in the 20 club, but that's not the big story for me. It should be. Mm-hmm. But the big story for me is, outside of the fact that we have one in the semis, but there were 2 Canadians. We almost had another Canadian that almost made it. We almost had 2. Good thing. The big story for me is this is Roger Federer's 3rd exit very quickly in the last 3 tournaments. And my friends,
quickly. It was the quarterfinal. It wasn't quickly.
Wimbledon for his standard with this opponent, Mitch. To me, that's quick. Okay. This is the guy who's dominated Wimbledon after Sampras. This is the guy who made his mark at Wimbledon. This is his jam.
Right.
And when you're, when you're losing quick in the French Open, when you go out in the first round on an ATP 1000, and then all of a sudden you come, and you withdrew, because you're trying to rest your body and you come here. No, I don't think so. The big story for me is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the true late beginning to the end of Roger Federer And I think you're slowly going to see this guy fall off the face of the map. I can confidently say I would be stunned and shocked if this guy ever wins another major. I think it's done. I think the time's done,
Okay.
everyone.
I'm gonna stop you real quick before people think that you've gone crazy. Okay,
I'm not, Mitch.
I know you're getting a little cocky because you, George, and your brother were all spotted at the same place at the same time. You know, billion. It's like winning the lottery, really. At the end of the day, right? I got to bring this up over and over again. It's crazy. Does anyone understand how crazy this is? Anyways,
The three of us roster.
The
One, two, three. Triple threat.
It's crazy. Who is not watching this? So anyways, here's why you're a little crazy. Now, you're not wrong. Federer losing, being that this is a tournament he's done well at, I get it. But he was ranked 6th in the world. So he's not first. He's not second. He's not even top 5.
Hey, if you ain't first, you're last. Ricky Bobby.
True. He's also 38 years old. So is his time coming to an end?
Yeah.
It eventually has to. It just is. It's genetic. Dude, today I was working on the lawn. My back is killing me. 30-year-old Mitch versus 42-year-old Mitch. 2 different Mitches.
And to
Same
your
thing with
credit,
Federer.
you are a high-performing lawnmower.
I like to think I am. But you know what, dude? As you get older, I'm respectful to, okay, he lost. Maybe he shouldn't have lost to this guy, Herkovitz, or whatever this guy's name is. He shouldn't have maybe lost to him, but he did. The reality is you're not wrong where maybe he doesn't have another one in him, but I still think he's going to be competitive because that's his nature. He's a GOAT. He's a winner. There was a while ago, a couple of moments ago, we were talking about him being the GOAT. Okay. But here's a name I'm going to throw at you. And again, the Greeks are going to hate me. Tsitsipas, you were in the finals. You were gone very early in this tournament, my friend. Dimitri and some others, and I'm not cutting Dimitri down. I'm not trying to put him on the spot here. A lot of people have you as a high accolade. You're the guy. You went to the French finals, blah, blah, blah. You're supposed to start taking over slowly, not right away. We don't want you. Hey, it's entry level. Come in. We're going to teach you some things. But, dude, he's gone right away. So if we're going to cut down Federer, okay, and I know you're not cutting him down, but you're going to say things about Federer, you got to look at the young generation. Like Berrettini, never heard of him. Herkovitz, never. Shapovalov or whatever your name is here. I've heard your name here and there, but I'm also Canadian, so I hear your name probably way more than I should.
Right.
Beat Djokovic. I got respect for you, but you beat Djokovic, and let's say you lose in the final. How are you any different than Tsitsipas? Tennis right now is a really weird scenario.
You're being hard on
I'm not. You know what, Dimitri? I'm being realistic. This is the problem with me being realistic and being Greek. These Greek guys are Magas. I can't do what they do, so I'm not going to sit there and complain. But I am going to say this, that if you're going to give Federer, who's made his accolades, who at one time we considered to be the GOAT, we can't cut him down because he lost one game in one tournament in Wimbledon. No, he can't.
No, yes, we can.
Then you have to take back what you said about Tsitsipas being the number one ranked. He'll never be number one ranked based on this.
Why does an argument that we're talking about the downfall of a guy who's played out his career have to be benchmarked compared to what some 22-year-old guy did or didn't, when you know and I know Tsitsipas isn't even in that league to begin with? Come on,
because
now.
You brought me to
that's
this.
not apples to apples. It's not apples to apples. We're talking about a guy who's 38 years old, who's winding down. And do you really think that Tsitsipas is going to have 20 Grand Slams?
No, I do not.
No, I don't. So why do you have to go to DEFCON 5 every time? Like a Greek is
involved. You bring it to me.
You know what you are? You're anti-Greek.
How dare you say I'm anti-Greek? I'm more Greek than anybody out here. I'm making souvlaki. I'm doing everything I can. Yeah, I love the Greeks. The Greeks are great.
You got to take it to the extremes, man. You're like an anti-vaxxer. Relax.
Fine.
You're an
We'll jump off this.
Passer.
From the grass, we go to the octagon. Really quickly, it's McGregor. It's Dustin Poirier this weekend, Saturday, July the 10th. It's their trilogy. Really quickly, before we go to a quick pick 6, Dimitri, who do you like in the trilogy?
What, do we got to talk about other greats that are on their demise again? No, look, you know what? It's funny. I'm excited to see this fight, but I'm really sad as to why I want to see it. There was a time when I wanted to see Conor McGregor because he was dominating. He was fun to watch. He talked the big game. He did all of his stuff. And you know what? He got the big money and he kind of spiraled out for a couple of years. Hey, you know what? Spike him. No big deal. Hey,
what's going
Tyson
on?
did it once, you know. Hey, we get it. We get it. But I'm watching. I want to watch to see if this guy was just a flash in the pan and if this is the swan song and just send him off. I'm watching McGregor for the wrong reasons. He's not talking. He sends out a Twitter about how Poirier's wife wanted to add him as a friend or, you know, sent him a DM, you know, and that was his big trash talk. So we got, you know, he's pulling a Deontay Wilder. Dude, I don't care what you're going through. This is what I want. So yeah. I'm not confident that I'm going to say this. I'm not confident that he's going to win. He doesn't have that overwhelming confidence. He's not doing his part talking. It's like, this is weird. However, what I will say is I do think he's going to win this Saturday. And I do think that once that happens, it's going to be the big hoopla. And I'm praying that he does, because UFC, you need this more than you have ever needed it in the past. I've always talked about, and Mitch has always talked about, how the UFC doesn't have the talent pool and they have these spikes in the rosters. And they look, we're looking at McGregor Poirier 3 because there's nothing else for McGregor, because Khabib doesn't want to fight anymore. Okay. And because there's no one else, like UFC, the tables have turned. You had your chance. Like, you know, you want to talk about a Tsitsipas comparison. It's like the UFC's the Tsitsipas. You had your chance on the big stage. You had your chance to overtake boxing, but you're not doing it because boxing's got Pacquiao, Spence coming up. Boxing's got Kambosos, Lopez. Boxing's got Wilder Fury 3. Boxing just had Gervonta Davis. They got the Canelos. They got all the fights. They got De La Hoya wanting to come back. They got Triller. They got your celebrity fights. They're taking it from you. So UFC fan, I don't care if it's Buddha, Allah, Jesus, whatever, or the universe. You better pray that Conor McGregor wins this Saturday.
That's you know what, man? Well said. Like, outside of that, I think Dustin's going to win. After all of what you just said, you are absolutely correct that McGregor has to win. For everything you just said is absolutely true. But I just think, like I said a minute ago, it's the younger guy in this particular sport. So in tennis, the older guys seem to like have the lay of the land. They get the game. They just have a better game plan. But when it comes to fighting, man, I do think it's the battle of attrition. And I just think that the younger guys are just ready, rocking. So they've won one each. I'm going to give it to the younger guy. But to Dimitri's point, I think it's Dustin. Dustin, you know what? For the sake of UFC, lay down. Lay down for Conor. Lay down for Conor.
Take a bump.
Take a bump. Exactly. 1, 2, 3. Does anyone understand? Listen, roster.
Me.
Text me. I got to send you the picture. 1, 2, 3. They didn't know each other 24 years ago. Does anyone else get this?
And this is South Carolina George roster. This isn't a nobody.
This isn't somebody that you don't know who it is.
George.
You all know who it is. This is what I'm saying. It's time for rapid banter. Here we go. You ready?
Love it.
At your In Your House pay-per-view, are you sure you didn't know George?
Positive. Didn't know George.
Jeff Bezos officially stepped down as the CEO of Amazon. His first business of order, he went to Greece. Can he buy Greece?
Actually, I think he can. I really believe he can.
The Ukrainian army defend decisions to make female soldiers march in high heels. Thoughts?
You know what? You got to market the attendance. Why not?
Iceland says 4-day work weeks have been working perfectly. What about 3-day work weeks?
It's a little light. I like the 4-day, but hey, Iceland, don't think you did it before Google.
Sha'Carri Richardson was suspended by the U.S. track and field team and she will not be attending the Olympics in the coming games in a couple of weeks because she was smoking weed. Fair, not fair.
Does that help performance? Right? That's ridiculous.
I just don't get it. So a couple of years ago, the MLS, when it first kind of inaugurated itself, they had shootouts where the player and the goalie would be able to attack each other. So it was instead of standing the ball, the player had to run in, and the goalie could come at it. Do you like that scenario better, maybe, to help soccer in the future?
No, not at all. It was terrible, Mitch.
Speaking of MLS, let's go to their counterpart in football. The CFL has ended talks with the XFL.
Yeah, they also
Potential
ended talks on
partnership.
their league.
Last one, COVID-19 has now gone to via breath strips, mint or peppermint.
Peppermint.
Yeah, there it is. Rapid banter.
Good one.
173. 173. Yeah. I had a couple other ones, but I was like, you know what? It's running late. South Carolina, Georgia's tired.
Where does
The rest of the
go,
roster.
Mitch? Where's the
You know
time
what?
go?
Let me tell you something. This long form that we're doing, I like it. I don't care
Not
what people
bad.
say. I like it. I like it.
Not-
We're enjoying it. You know what? I like it.
Roster, you don't get it. This is our time.
Yeah. This is what
Okay?
we have.
I'm locked in my office. Mitch is locked in his basement. This is all we got.
This is all we have.
Okay.
This is what we have, and this is what we enjoy. And it's Wednesday, and it's great. And Tampa Bay just won a cup, and who knows what's going on in this crazy world. But with that being said, here we go. So earlier, right at the beginning, I said, Malaka or Malakia guy came into AEW. I'm talking about names. Malakia Black, Malaka Black, whatever his name is.
Okay.
Right? So the other day I'm walking, minding my business again, minding my business. Me and Kostaki, we're going for a little walk together. I like taking my son for a little walk, get some fresh air. You know, the world's a crazy place. He hasn't seen it all. At 2 years old, I want him to see. And I hear this lady calling for her dog. Hey, Scooby. Hey, Scooby.
Scooby.
Not a bad name. I kind of liked it. So
I
here
get
it is. Maga Malaka. It's dog names or pet names in that fashion. Here we go.
This is
Last
good,
week was
Mitch.
porn names. This week it's dog names. It's not the same, but different.
Could be.
You know? Could be. Hey, hey, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm walking away. I'm gonna walk away from this.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let it walk away. Here we go. Dog names. Here we go. Or just pet names. Pet names.
Pet names. Okay.
Here's one. Fluffy, Maga, or Malaka.
Malaka.
Yeah.
Come on. You got it from the same movie everyone else did. Relax. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? The first Fluffy, cool name.
Get it.
The 500th Fluffy, not so cool.
No.
I don't like it.
No.
Yeah. And what's so fluffy about your dog that's not fluffy about the other dog?
And if the
That's what
dog's
I wanna know.
not fluffy, you can't name it Fluffy. Doesn't make sense.
See, this is where I think it would be funny. Let's say it's one of those short dogs and you call him Fluffy, but he's got like no hair on him. Then it's a Maga. That's funny. That's funny.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough.
It's like calling somebody Big John, but they're like 5'11" or 5'10".
Yeah, like how
you know what
people
I mean?
call you
Yeah.
Tall Mitch.
See, that in my eyes,
Now I get it.
makes sense.
You know what?
that's like,
That's
why didn't
funny.
you just call me Mitch? That doesn't make any sense. Why don't you just call me Mitch? All right, here's one for you. Here's another one. It's a classic. Sparky, Maga, or Malaka.
Maga. I will not have you defile this name.
Why?
First pet that I ever had was a fish, a goldfish, and I named him Sparky.
Sparky.
And you know why I know it was a good name? Because my
What?
best friend at the time in elementary, Jacob, he got a fishbowl with 2 fish, and he named one of them Sparky as well. It's a good name, Mitch.
It's a good name. Here's one I heard a couple of years ago, and I've always thought it was weird because giving people's names to dogs, I just don't know how I feel about it. But I also don't like over extravagant weird names. Anyways,
Right.
Oliver, Maga, or Malaka.
No, Malaka. Malaka. The only dog name that is a real name that I'll accept is Bruno. It just makes sense to me.
Bruno
Bruno.
for a dog.
For a dog.
All right.
It's got to be a big
All right.
dog. It's got to
All
be a
right.
Bruno.
Here's one for you. Maverick. For a dog, for any
buddy.
pet.
Buddy,
You like
Maga. What are you talking about? Maga, come on.
Here's
My,
one for you.
my cousin had a dog, had, buddy, it was like the coolest name ever. It's my cousin's Top Gun fan. The PT.
Ah, the
PT's
PT.
huge. PT.
I didn't
Huge
know. I
Top
didn't
Gun
know.
fan. First dog was a Rottweiler named Maverick. But he's classic, forever in our hearts. God bless.
Ah,
You know what?
I
God
didn't
bless
know.
Maverick.
Had no idea. It's a nice name.
Do you know how smart this dog was? You know, they trained the dog. I'm not even making this up. They trained the dog to go get a rose from the pantry and bring it to ladies.
That's smart.
I'm not even kidding.
Now
It's crazy.
Now
it's crazy.
that can win you over.
Now PT's never done that in his life.
Yeah, no.
But he was able. No, I'm kidding.
What about the name Big Data for a pet? Big Data for a pet.
You tell me, Mitch.
I like it. I like the Big Data. I like it.
Maga. We'll go Maga.
Maga on the Big Data. All right. Here's one. Like a lot of kids, you'll ask them, okay, son, or okay, daughter, it's your first little dog. He's a puppy. What do you want to call him? Ruffy, or Ruff.
No, Malaka. No, you're not trying.
You're not,
It's not a
you know
real
what?
name.
Exactly.
It doesn't
It's not
check
your fault
out.
that you can't say sentences.
Yeah,
It's, Ruffy. All right. Here's another one for you. Again, I'm not lying to you. In my community, I must have like this weird dog. A lot of people in my community have dogs. I'll say this. A lot of dog names. People don't walk their cats as much. I see a lot of dogs. Gloria for a dog. Gloria.
Malaka. Again, too doesn't work. Come on.
Too close. Too close.
Too name. Hey, Gloria. Nah, that's not, you know.
Saw another one the other day. A little dog. He was a runner. Rocket. Little Rocket.
You know what? The classics. They never go away.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like that. I won't lie to you. I don't know why. I thought it was
Yeah.
kind of cheese at first, but it kind of grew on me. I mean, the fact that I'm telling you about it, right? You know what I mean?
Hey, Rocket. I like it.
What do you got? What do you got for dog name or pet names? You got one? I got a couple more. I just wanted to see if you had any names.
Okay. I got a really good one. What about like Hercules?
So here's the thing. My buddy CS, he had a dog named Hercules.
No way. Really?
Yeah. Hercules died a horrible death. This is the problem. He died because his other dog, Jackie, sat on Hercules and killed Hercules. So the way I look at it is, Jackie was a big dog.
A Chihuahua?
Yeah. Honest to God, it was actually a Chihuahua.
Oh, see,
yes, it was.
Okay, so that's why going back when you're like naming the dog Fluffy when it's not Fluffy.
Right.
See why
Exactly.
you don't do it, Mitch? Because it's funny. Hercules is a small dog, but he wasn't.
All right. It's a good point. Now in hindsight, I won't lie to you. I thought it was funny, but then when Jackie, a Malamute, like a big, like Jackie,
that sounds like a husky dog.
It was you know what it was? It was one of those the dog sledding dogs, a Malamute. It was like the ones that take you on the dog sledding ride. So this big dog, he's got his little buddy Hercules. He's like, hey, Herc, where you at? Whoop, sits, he goes, done.
Kind of like Christopher Moltisanti in The Sopranos.
Yeah. Well, when he said,
remember they took him to the intervention. It's like, you killed the dog because he was high. Remember, you just like.
That's right. Okay, couple more, and here we go. What if you have a dog or a pet and you name it another animal like Moose? So you got a dog.
No, I don't like that.
Moose.
You know what's funny? I have a coworker who has a dog named Moose.
Oh, he's got a dog named Moose.
Yeah, it's confusing. You can't.
Of course, it's confusing.
Yeah, you can't. It's so funny you say that.
Because what if you're out camping one day or you're out walking a trail and you see a moose? Now you're telling your dog and the moose. Like the moose is gonna get confused.
Yeah, the moose.
He's like,
are you talking to me?
You're talking to me.
You're the moose. You think you're the moose? Where the heck do you get off? Find yourself a moose.
Do you want me to come and talk to? No, you're talking to.
What? That's not a moose. That's a dog.
Who are you?
How are you the intelligent race? It's clearly a canine.
It's clearly a dog.
I'm the moose around here.
All right, a couple more.
But it's funny that you it's funny to use moose. I swear to God, a coworker. Yeah, moose is the name. Never got it. Still don't.
Second last one. Champ. What if your pet's name is Champ?
I can get behind Champ.
You can get behind the champ.
I can get behind champ. Yeah.
Here's my problem. I think you're gonna see the problem.
If it's not a champ,
What if your dog's a loser? What if your dog's a loser? What happens?
because there are loser dogs out there. Like you know what? They're just like
Yeah.
humans.
They
You
just
got winners
hey,
and losers.
You got winners, and you got some losers.
Some dogs are just lazy. It's like, aren't you supposed to be the energetic type? Like where you just sit down and eat kibbles all day? What do you do?
This is what I'm saying. So, quick question. You know the ESPN and TSN here in Canada, they carry that dog show. They show the highlights of these dogs that win the Leicester. I can't remember what they call it, something like that, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So those dogs, they look like they're prim and proper. Like, you know, they're and they different varieties, like, and they're watching these dogs. See, calling your dog champ, he's no champ compared to those dogs. Those dogs are actually going out and making money for those owners.
Yeah.
Is your dog making you any money? Is he playing the stock market while you're at work? I doubt it.
Yeah, but if the dog's hitting the heavy bag, you got to egg him up. Come on, champ. Go get him, champ.
All right, here's the last one. I think everyone knows what I'm going to go with it. It's Gary. What if your dog's name or your pet's name is Gary?
You can't
Maga
do it, Mitch.
or Malaka.
You can't do it. The only time that you know, a Gary or a name like that's acceptable is if your dog actually has like a human looking face. Like if you look and say, yeah, you look like you know what? Fine. I can get behind that. You know what? But I got to give a shout out. You want to know what? It's a great dog name. And I've known a couple people that have named their dog this, but Pittsburgh Taylor, our very own.
No, sure.
As a dog, amazing dog, gorgeous, by the way. But Remy,
good name.
great name.
Nice name.
Nice name. It's a good name.
It's not Gary. It's a good name.
You want to know what else is a good name, Mitch?
Sure.
Real Locker Room Talk. Now that's a name that I can get behind. And how do you get behind that name? It's so simple. At RLRT Podcast. If you're on Instagram and Twitter, search us on Facebook by just typing in Real Locker Room Talk. Find the logo, click on it, like it. RLRT TV, Real Locker Room Talk TV, our channel. Roster, please subscribe to it. Help us grow this thing. We're really trying to make a push on it. And of course, the podcast, Spotify, iTunes, Podbean. You can download all the time, every week. Look, this is episode 173. Probably for the amount of minutes that we're doing these podcasts. But guess what? We're done in a week or two. So relax. Take it easy.
You're going to wish we were back.
You're going to wish we're back like that. Anyways, 173. We do got to shove it in the locker because we got to hit the showers.
There it is.
And I got to hit the washroom. I've been holding it the whole podcast. Take a break.
Hold it
on video now.
Real quick. The name Charlie for a dog or a pet, Charlie.
Don't mind it. Like it.
I don't mind it either. It's not bad, right? It's like the only weird name that works. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you, buddy. That was painful. I was holding it probably like from 10 minutes in. I was like praying. I'm like, yeah, maybe like 20. From the 20-minute mark and on, I was like, holy smokes.
You should have paused the video. Why didn't you pause it?
You can't. We're professionals, Mitch. You don't pause the video.
I'm just saying.
If we're going to make it big time.
Milo.
Yeah, I like Milo. Milo's a good one.
I don't like it. Lucy.
Nah.
I kind of like it. Hello, Lucy.
Lucy. Yeah, but you're doing it with a Greek accent. That changes the whole dynamic. So we had a dog.
You told me.
Yeah. We named. So it's funny. I said Hercules. We named our dog Apollo.
Yeah. What a surprise.
Yeah, it's a good name though. Look, not too big, not too small.
I'm just saying.
It's fair. It's fair. It's a fair name.
You know what? It's the typical Greek name. I mean, there was a lot of Apollos around. A lot of Apollos. You know what I mean? Saprelis had Apollo. I know another family that had an Apollo.
Yeah, they did have I remember Apollo. Yep. Yeah, I think that's where my brother got it from. To tell you the truth.
So he's a plagiarist. That's what you're telling me. He's a name plagiarist. So he, you know what? It just shows me he stole the tickets from George. He plagiarized George's tickets. He knew.
That would be even crazier as if we had 3 tickets and we scalped one to George outside. Only then, ask them, Mitch. Ask them.
Buddy, it's creepy enough that you guys were sitting 1, 2, 3.
It's not
on the railing. On the
Nobody
railing.
understands this. Like, why everyone's like, yeah, okay, get it. Like your family gets it, my family gets it, but outside of that, everyone's like, okay, so okay, your buddy.
Did you tell Tasso about this?
I didn't tell him yet. No, I told the Tamara. I didn't get a chance.
What did Tamara say?
What? She was losing her mind. My mother-in-law was losing her mind. They couldn't believe it.
They know the South Carolina George.
They know about South Carolina George.
You got to tell Tasso. It's part of the story.
Well, I told Tasso about the video and the Instagram.
Yeah.
And so he's that far, but we haven't caught up yet.